In Dr. Ben Carson. He leads in some polls. Earlier today, I spoke to him about taxes, Hillary, and his new book. The new book, by the way, is called A More Perfect Union. Roll that tape, please. Dr. Carson, what a pleasure. Welcome back.
Always good to be with you.
I've got a suspicion, sir, that you are the most conservative candidate in the Republican roster. What would you say to that?
I'd say there's probably some truth to that. but then again, I don't necessarily see myself as a conservative, a liberal, or anything. I see myself as a logical person who loves America.
I see you as a person who puts his Christian faith at the very center of his life and the very center of his campaign. Am I right?
There's no question that your faith informs who you are and how you react to people and to circumstances.
But that opens you to attacks from the left, doesn't it?
Well, I would, if the left didn't attack me, I would be very disappointed, because it would mean that I was not threatening to them. And I believe that their agenda is counterproductive to a strong and prosperous America.
You say in your book, and I'm just going to quote a little bit at length here, you say, I've never raised anyone's taxes. It's true that I've never voted for a budget America can't afford. I believe that making a difference starts with understanding our amazing founding document, the U.S. Constitution. And that's the nature of your book.
Absolutely. You know, everybody knows that we have a Constitution, but how many people actually know what was behind it and what's in it? And the real purpose of it is not only to guarantee the rights of we the people, but to restrain the government, because there is a natural tendency for government to grow and insinuate itself into every aspect of your life and to try to dominate the people.
What is it about government that so upsets you?
Well, the fact that this country was supposed to be up for and by the people. That's what distinguished us from so many other nations where the government is centric and it demands allegiance and obeisance by the people.
That's an implied criticism of President Obama and the Democrats. It's actually an overt criticism.
Well, actually, it goes beyond them. And it's been going on for quite some time. It's just sort of culminated with this administration.
You're a soft-spoken guy. I can barely hear what you're saying, and you're sitting right next to me. And you can't make your love and respect for the Constitution into a one-liner. You make America great again. That's a pretty good one-liner on the part of one of your opponents. You can't do the same thing with the essence and the basics of your campaign.
Right. Well, then again, I'm not a politician. I'm not a soundbite guy. And that's why you're not going to see me probably lighting up the debates. And yet, I still get my message through. People still hear it, and people are responding to it around the country.
There's one of the survivors of the Oregon shooting, Matthew Downing. He is upset. He says he's upset by your comments following the Oregon shooting. He says nobody could truly understand what actions they would have taken. Now, he's critical of what you said right after the shooting. Do you want to take anything back or rework it?
No, he's probably been listening to the mainstream media, who tried to characterize my comments as a criticism to the people who were there, which it totally wasn't. You know, they didn't include the actual question. The question was, what would you do if you were there and they were pointing a gun at you and asking you about your faith? And, you know, I personally, my general feeling is do something rather than do nothing. Now, that's not a criticism of the people. That's what I would do. And I hope to plant that seed because this probably will not be the last time that this occurs. And if there are several people there and they're being shot one by one, don't wait.
You think you're being picked off by the establishment media?
Oh, I have no doubt. You know, every day they will be coming out with something. They have been searching through every place I've ever lived, everyone I've ever worked with, you know, trying to find disgruntled patients. I mean, they're doing everything that they can. They're desperate. They're like a fly who's been sprayed by rain, you know, spinning in a circle. I know that.
Is there anything that you see eye to eye on with Hillary Clinton?
I'm sure there is.
It took you a long time to think that one through. Anything?
I'm sure there are some things. For instance, we both agree that education is important. You know, she may think of it more as a responsibility for the government, and I may think of it more as an individual responsibility, but I think we would both agree that it is highly important.
Today she's going to recommend a small tax on every stock trade, I think it's every financial trade, as a way of getting back to and reducing high-frequency trading. Any comment?
Yeah. Politicians love taxes, and they will come up with any excuse to tax people. I feel just the opposite. I think we have way too many taxes already. We need to be divesting ourselves of taxes, not increasing them.
Would there be any area of spending that would just flat out cut?
Yes, many areas of spending. You know, we have 645 government agencies and sub-agencies, each of which has a budget, in many cases a very substantial budget. I personally believe that you can cut 3 or 4% of fat out of each one of those budgets. Anybody who tells me you can't, like Nancy Pelosi, you can't reduce by 1 penny or it will be a complete disaster because we are 100% efficient. What a bunch of crap.
If you were the Republican nominee, what proportion of the black vote do you think you'd get?
I have no idea. I do know, you know, when I'm out in the public, I have tons of black people who come up to me and tell me that they're supporting me. I do know that.
Do you ever dream of the day you walk into the White House? Do you ever project yourself forward and think, you know, I might win this thing and I might be walking into that Oval Office?
Honestly, I haven't really begun to think that way. I have not.
You must have.
No, I have not.
Have you not discussed with your wife the idea of First Lady?
I have talked about that with her.
May I ask what the conclusion was?
The conclusion was that the White House would be full of music.
Now, there's a plank in your campaign platform, perhaps.
Yeah, she's a musician, and you know, we would highlight a lot of very talented musicians, and we both particularly love classical music.
You're off and running. Dr. Ben Carson, we thank you very much indeed for being on the show today. Much obliged to you, sir.
A pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.